What is popping? What's going on? This is Shango Ray, aka Real Deal Ray. The title of this particular video is Have You Been Spiritually Bitch Slapped? Now, before we begin, like, share, subscribe, and thrive. Like, share, subscribe, and thrive. And if you are hard of hearing or lack comprehension skills, like, share, subscribe, and thrive. In that order. So moving on. First of all, what in the fuck, Shango, is a spiritual bitch slap? Well, first off, in Shangorian terms, a spiritual bitch slap. And the reason I'm making this video is because I know that there's a lot of spiritual bitch slaps going on. I'm tapped into y'all, just like y'all tapped into me. You know what I'm saying? So, in Shangorian terms, if I was to choose a synonym or synonyms for what a spiritual bitch slap is, to simplify it, I would say, at its most simplest levels, I could say it's like an aha moment. It's like an epiphany. Now, maybe there's little different, striations to it, densities, levels. Of course there is. We're going to get into a little bit of what is it. And finally, we're going to conclude with how do you use this if this is actually happening now? Okay. So as I said, all of you, each and every one of you have had an aha moment, or you've had an epiphany. The best way that I can explain that is it's like all of a sudden this switch just happens, or something, the lights come on inside. It's an inner knowing. It doesn't happen from the outside in. It always happens. One of the characteristics is it always happens from the inside out. Something transforms, transmutes, or shifts inside of you. Okay? Leading to, it's like in this moment of this aha or epiphany, you are looking at everything through new eyes. Not through the same old eyes that you've been looking through at stuff, at your circumstance, situations, or even yourself. They can be loud or subtle. Some spiritual bitch slaps are kind of subtle, believe it or not. Some are extremely loud. You can hear that from half a block away. You hear that, whoosh, you turn around, God damn, So when I say loud or subtle, I also mean there's different variations. It can be something that you would label as a happy moment or a liberating moment, right? It can be something that is very upsetting to you, it angers you. It can be something that saddens you or makes you feel a sense of grief or loss. A lot of times, most of the time, there will probably be a flowing or cascading of all kinds of different emotions behind it. I guess if we really wanted to simplify what a spiritual bitch slap is it's definitely, the best way that I can seem to explain it also is an inner awakening. It's different than just like, for example, I'm going to give you a quick example, right? I was working on a project about 2 years ago, and I thought I needed all this shit for it, right? I was totally convinced, and that's just what it was. So I called up a friend who I've known for a long time, and he's really good with computers and things like that. And so we started talking about my project, and he was like, why don't you just get blah, 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 blah? And as soon as he said them words, it was like, wow, like my perception that I had right before that phone call was absolutely gone. I wouldn't classify that as a spiritual bitch slap, right? But nonetheless, my whole perception, everything, my view of this whole project and what I thought I needed totally just switched, and changed in the twinkle of an eye, you know? But in the case of a spiritual bitch slap, you can best believe it's going to involve you and your life. That's right. And it can't be ignored. That's another sign of a spiritual bitch slap, is it cannot be ignored. You can try. Matter of fact, I would bet every dollar I'll ever make that you would not be able. It's impossible for you to ignore it. Now, you can try and suppress it, or you can try to avert your attention and distract yourself, because once you have a spiritual bitch slap moment, everything changes. There is the actual spiritual bitch slap in this moment, right? There is all the other chain of events and things that have happened that have led up to this. And then there's after the spiritual bitch slap. And usually you can envision yourself, if you like envisioned standing on a path, and you can look at your feet and then you look up at the path, but you can't see where it goes. You can't see what's up ahead. It's the unknown. And if you try and ignore it, if you try and act like you don't know, because really another thing about a spiritual bitch slap is it's this knowing. It's not an intellectual, heady thing. And at the same time, it's also not just a feeling. It can involve different feelings. It can involve a feeling of just, I mean, that's the best way we can explain it with this human language, is a knowing. It feels like you just fucking know. You just know. Good luck trying to explain it, but you just know. So some people will try, once they have their spiritual bitch slap moment, though, some people will try and to backslide or to divert back to who they were. But guess what? It is the personal opinion and professional opinion of this man here that not only is a spiritual bitch slap an awakening, an inner knowing. I believe the moment that this spiritual bitch slap occurs, you then basically shift realities. You just shifted realities right then and there. That's why sometimes, depending on, I'll say, the severity of the spiritual bitch slap, it can kind of be disorienting. You may need a few days, weeks, maybe even months to continue to process and, adjust yourself. Especially if the change or the changes that follow really have you out of homeostasis, right? Out of equanimity, out of feeling balanced, out of, there's a time to get unbalanced. You can be balanced in unbalance, but that's a whole other conversation. But if you try and ignore it and go back and try to be something or somebody that you're not, once this occurs, good luck to you, because it's going to return like a huge, magnanimous, big, unpopped pimple on your face that didn't pop the first time. And slowly and gradually and begrudgingly, it fucking finally went away. But if you'll notice, those type of pimples always fucking come back. It's going to come back. And the way that it comes back sometimes is reflected in circumstances, people, events, occurrences, situations that happen. Also, your inner your inner world starts to decay and suffer, because a spiritual bitch slap is always connected to your truth. The truth of who you really are, perhaps. The truth of who you really are, maybe in that moment or in that season of your life. You dig? So when it comes up, you can keep trying to, it's almost like you change shape, right? You were a square, now you're a circle, but you keep trying to put the circle piece back onto the board with the square hole. Because that's what you know. That's what you're familiar with. You know, that's where you feel you have some form of control. That's where you feel safe. You know, even though maybe you're being called out of your comfort zone by you. Okay? Not no imaginary sky daddy or mommy, by you. You know, where does it come from? You. A spiritual bitch slap always comes. Now, some may say it can come through some of your, some of your guides, your higher self, your oversoul, whatever the hell you want to call it. I think at this point, it really doesn't matter. The point is, it's here. You're here. Y'all both here. So what are you going to do now? And most of the time, though, I think that most people, they don't try and really fit the square peg or the circle peg into the square hole again, because even if they do, it's like, it's pointless. You ever been in a situation where you've been lying or something, and then finally one day, I don't know, it feels like, the way that I can describe it is, the gas tank's on empty, man. It's not even fumes, and you don't even have it in you to lie anymore. You just say, you know what? Because you can't keep carrying the facade. You can't keep carrying the act. The mask has grown too heavy. You know. So how do we use a spiritual bitch slap? It's my suggestion that first and foremost, you accept it. You welcome it. Simply accept and welcome it. It's not about trying to change it, although it is very difficult at times. We always want to rush away, you know, because like I said, sometimes a spiritual bitch slap will come with feelings that aren't very comfortable. You know, and it's the uncomfortable that get shit going, that get shit moving, that get shit to change, that get shit on the road. You know, if you're just so comfortable, sometimes you can't even get out of bed. You know, so first and foremost, you want to welcome it and accept it. And whatever feelings that came with it and are going to come with it, because you best believe you're going to have a myriad of different emotions that are going to be popping up depending on what the situation is or how the spiritual bitch slap, you know, when I say the severity, I don't mean really the severity. I mean, like, it could be more subtle. It could just be, you know, because of now this shift, all of a sudden, whatever this shift, this awakening, this knowing, just boom, just came on, you know, maybe you might start, you know, taking more time to, you know, self-care type of thing, or just allowing yourself to sit and simply listen. Just listen. You know, it's obvious that, you know, somebody's been trying to get your attention. You've been trying to get your attention. And you can only turn your back on yourself so long. And the longer you do, you know, yeah, the more in other ways that you actually do hurt yourself. You know, it may not be very apparent to others. You might be the only one who knows about it because you can feel it. You can't get away from you. Wherever you go, there you are. Nobody else on this particular planet, this version of the planet, whatever, may be able to, they may be able to really closely understand, but maybe nobody in your reality, in your world at this time can understand. Hell, you don't even understand sometimes because you're trying to explain what the fuck just happened. I want you to know it's okay if nobody gets it, because nobody has to get it. It's not for everybody or anybody else. It's for you. You know? And, sometimes a spiritual bitch slap does come with a sense of catharsis or a spontaneous emotional release. Many Christians, attribute their belief to Jesus because when they went with their friend or whoever to the church that particular day, maybe they never went really to church or whatever, and they're stressed the fuck out, all kinds of shit going on in their life, and they hear that altar call and they start hearing them, all them gospel chords and passing chords and all of that, and the stage is set. Like you can feel like the feeling in a joint like that is palpable. You can feel that shit, you can taste it, the energy, and they can feel it like wanting to just explode out their chest. And so they go up to the fucking altar and get hands laid on them and they pray. And what they actually are doing, they are experiencing a catharsis. Maybe they never had a channel or an outlet in which they to themselves actually surrendered to whatever the hell was going on. It's like this supreme grand letting go. Just like I can't fucking fight this shit no more. Just, And a lot of times that comes with the waterworks, and it's a very emotional thing, But my biggest suggestion here for you, if you even want to call it that, it's just advice, take it or leave it. Like, how about you start asking yourself, maybe, where have you not been honoring yourself? You ask people what they want a lot of times. I don't know. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that shit. You know what the fuck you want. You know what you really want. You're probably also aware that you are afraid of it for God knows why. Maybe you feel if you rock the boat too much, someone in your reality can hurt you, take something away from you, whatever. People will shun you. You'll be all alone. Nobody will fuck with you. Blase, blase. Whatever the reason is. But everyone knows what the hell they really, really want. It's kind of like, the sun is there even on a cloudy day, though you can't see it. All you can see is the clouds. Your emotion are the clouds. They change. They go all over the place. 1 minute they're here, next minute it's raining, next minute it's sunny. The weather changes like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But that sun is always there. You know what you really want. So where have you not been honoring yourself? And when I say honoring yourself, I guess you can call it just being actually true to yourself. And when I say being true to yourself, I mean starting to live your life in accordance with your values, with what you feel is right for you, no matter what anybody else thinks, whatever they feel, whether they understand it or not, whether they try and condemn you, try and guilt the fuck out of you, try and, however, anger the fuck out of you, try and insult you, whatever. No one said that doing what is right for you is going to be some pleasant orgasmic experience all the time. Just because it's painful don't make it wrong, right? Pain is the greatest stimulant for growth, hands down. Hell, some of y'all even like a little pain. I knew a bitch who she liked to be basically uppercut in the ribs while getting the cheeks clapped from behind. Hey, I don't know. Go figure. You know what I'm saying? Like, to each their own. My point is, even the whole concept of pain could be subjective, but it's going to be some uncomfort. It might be painful. It doesn't have to be suffering, though. Suffering is when suffering is a choice, you know, believe it or not. So welcoming it and starting to make the decisions from these new eyes, this new place, and even more importantly, from your center of truth. You know, tap in with that gut intuition, with that vagus nerve, with that, you know, with your heart. Right there, your heart center, and also your solar plexus, yo. It will tell you. It will tell you. Inevitably, I think you're more than likely going to it's not even about a have to. It's just like, it's just what you do, because you just changed. Even if the change may seem minute right now, maybe the longer term effects of this shift may take some time. You know, may take some acclimation. There may be other processes involved or whatever. So be it, though. Just like a huge redwood or sequoia tree starts off as that little tiny seed. You know, that big old tree is already contained within the seed. Now, we experience it in this physical world as a process and with the use of what we call time. Fuck time. Throw time out. Time is irrelevant with these shifts, you know what I'm saying? Because these are outside of time. Time is a physical it's a concept. It's tied in with this physical matrix. It's an egoic thing also. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it has its place. But when it comes to this shit, fuck it. Give yourself that time. Give yourself that space as much as you can. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that once you have your spiritual bitch slap will never have you just, well, I don't know. Maybe it might. I don't know. But it won't be, it's not like a psychopathic, self-centered type of thing. But many of us and most of us, we put other people first, or we are in situations where, especially a lot of women and stuff, you know, but especially in the older generation, you know, how the old saying, like, grandma always held shit together and stuff, you know. So I'm not saying, you know, it is also about connecting with other people on a deeper level. From strangers to whoever, your kids, your lover, whatever. And this spiritual bitch slap may have you doing some things, and you may start to question, like, wait, am I really going to do this? Like, yes. There's just going to come a point where you can't ignore yourself. Just understand that. So you may be in a situation where you don't want to change it, leave it, anything. You're going to get there. You can drag your heels, you can whatever, you know. It's been said that your higher self is not immune to the slings and arrows of your lower self, the one who's listening to me right now. And it's true. You know, but it never leaves you, because it is you. How can it leave you? You know, you can ignore that aspect of yourself, just like you can ignore your intuition. And 10 times out of 10, when you ignore your intuition, you always attempt to shove the heel of your foot square up your ass, because you're like, how in the fuck could I ignore I knew better, you know? Hey, but welcoming it and, you know, giving yourself that space. One thing you're going to need, depending especially on, you know, how much of a pivot this shift is for you, is you're going to need to give yourself some space, you know, as much as you can anyways. Take it whenever you can get it, you know. If you're single, cool. If you are not, it's probably going to affect your relationship. I'm not saying negative or positive, but it's going to affect your relationship. Obviously, if you're different, then the relationship's different automatically right then and there. And same goes for your, your partner or whatever. Or if you're a single parent, and I know it can be tough and busy being a single parent, but give yourself that time. Especially just giving yourself a couple minutes of space to just listen. Stop trying to program. Stop trying to always, say something or put something out. Sometimes we gotta just shut the fuck up and listen. Tune into your body. Get in your body. Feel where are you holding stress? What are you feeling? What are you feeling in your chest, your stomach, wherever? You know what I mean? Just start to get into yourself and just listen. If you, I don't know if you've ever been in the bed as a kid. It's nighttime and maybe you hear something outside of your window and all of a sudden you're just like intensely fucking listening outside the window, Well, you kind of want to sit relaxed, but listen with that intensity. And you'll be surprised. Maybe sometimes nothing will come through while you're sitting down, but watch what happens. Something more than likely is going to come through during your day or when you least expect it. But it's also good practice because so many of us, we don't listen to ourselves. We don't listen to our inner divinity. You know what I'm saying? And in so for doing, we make shit a lot more complicated for ourselves, But it's my intention that this video serve you to the highest good for you. And if you're going through, or if you just had a spiritual bitch slap, congratulations. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me tell you this real quick. I also wanted to add this too, because sometimes a painful or traumatic event, some big shakeup, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a spiritual bitch slap, because depending on, how you view it, how you respond, how you allow yourself to feel whatever the fuck is going on, is going to, sometimes it's just a traumatic event is just another brick in the wall. And that really does no good, So just because it's traumatic or maybe, major life shifting, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a spiritual bitch slap. Because as I said before, in my opinion, a spiritual bitch slap always comes from inside. Now, something big, huge, or traumatic may happen. And as a result or in conjunction with that, you also experience a spiritual bitch slap. That can happen too. A spiritual bitch slap can also lead to a dark night of the soul. Or a dark night of the soul can lead, let me rephrase that. A dark night of the soul can lead to a spiritual bitch slap. But sometimes they got to fucking get you ready. You know what I'm saying? Roll you in flour, egg and flour before they throw you in the grease, So it's my intention that this video serve you in any way that it can, for your highest good and shit. But Shango Ray here. Much love to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for checking out the video. And we will be back again. Peace.